Here it is, Draw My Life. I had a tough time making this because, well, I have to tell my entire life story under 20 minutes. I can barely remember what I did yesterday. So this will be a very brief summary of my life. I would love to get more in depth, but we can save that for another time. So let's get drawing. There are 7 billion people in this world, meaning there are 7 billion stories to be told. But today, I'm going to tell you one story from someone who was born in this tiny town in Massachusetts called Boston, or Boston, aka Beantown. January 1987, it was snowing and my mother and father were driving. At this time, my mother was 6 months pregnant, and she asked my father what my name should be, and they both decided on Michelle. However, my mom looked over at him and asked, well, what about her Vietnamese name? He looked out the window and saw this beautiful snowflake, and he said, Tuyết băng, which means avalanche. Thanks, Dad, for naming me after something so terrifying. Hi, my name is Avalanche, and I could potentially kill you. Nice to meet you. So that's me, an avalanche. 4 months later, I was born. Year of the Rabbit. My welcome party was lovely. My mother told me that when she brought me home and placed me in my crib, my brother thought I was a toy, so he literally jumped and slammed himself on top of me. Apparently, I stopped breathing and my mother thought I died. Anyways, that's how I first met my amazing brother, Steve. A few years later, we all packed up and moved to California. Alright, so I'm going to draw my family portrait. This is my mom. Her name is Hieng, which means gentle one in Vietnamese. Myself, Michelle or Avalanche, my brother Steve, and of course, my wonderful father. We were a very loving family. While living in San Francisco, we moved several different times, at least over 6 times in 1 year. I remember packing and moving, and at first I thought it was fun, but later I found out it was because my father had a gambling addiction. He was a very loving father, but his weakness was playing poker. It was so bad that he would gamble all our rent money and we would get evicted. That's why we kept moving. It broke my mother's heart. I'll never forget seeing my mother cry. I realized at a very early age that I couldn't wait to grow up so I could help her. Because we moved so often, I ended up going to several different schools in 1 year. So it was hard for me to make friends because not only was I shy, but I was always the new girl. I never felt so different in my life. There wasn't a lot of Asian people at my school, and my classmates, they made fun of me, calling me names. Man, kids can be so cruel. But it's okay. I found something else that made me smile. It was drawing. I draw superheroes all day in class. I even created a superhero version of myself. I seriously thought that when I grew up, I would have superpowers. One morning I woke up and I noticed that my father was missing. My mother was so heartbroken. I didn't know why my father left. But every night I would wait for him to come back. He never did. However, we carried on. My mother is a strong woman, and she found a way to take care of us. We were happy. We didn't have much, but we had each other. We didn't know what was going to happen, but we knew that we were going to walk together. It wasn't easy. We had to move a few times, and at one point, we could only afford to rent a bedroom from a family. We all shared a bed, and my brother would sleep on the floor. My brother and I had to work to help out my mother. It was tough, but we made it through together as a family. We were unbreakable. A miracle happened. I was able to attend college. That meant I had to move an hour away from them, and I was devastated. I cried so much because it was my first time away from home. And it also meant that I couldn't have my mom's pho as much. Man, you cried too because it is so good. My college gave out laptops to all the students. I always dreamt of having my own laptop, but I never thought I'd have one. Well, guess what? This was the laptop where I filmed my very first makeup tutorial. I just wanted to show every girl out there how beautiful she was, and how makeup can be their own superhero costume. Anyways, I'd love to go more into details about how everything happened, but this video would be 2 hours long, so I'm just gonna fast forward to today. I got my family a home where they're safe and happy. My mother is as beautiful as ever and hasn't aged a day, so everyone is happy and healthy. As for me, well, let's just say I met someone very special in Paris. This is another story that deserves to be told, but I'll save that for another time. But that's pretty much a brief summary of my story. Even when times were tough, my childlike spirit never died. I found that very thing that takes me to a happy place. It was art, and to others, it could be music, writing, video games. Whatever it is, finding that special thing will help move you forward. Kind of like a lotus flower, finding sunlight in muddy water. When all odds are against it, it will still rise up to bloom. We all have a story to tell, and we are all part of something beautiful. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. Every great dream begins with a dreamer, and every dreamer has a story. So don't settle for a happy ending, because to be continued is way more fun. And I'm wishing you the best on your story. Good luck on the next chapter in your life.